Today was a massive green day, but it was honestly one of the easiest trades of the week and easiest days to trade if you knew exactly what to look for. So we're going to go over that right now. So as you can see, look at this right here. We had full TP taken once again. Perfect trade again, which is exactly what we needed for our funded account with Take Profit Trader with the trailing drawdown. But today I will go over the day and what I was looking for on the day. And I'm not going to lie, yesterday I saw a video of a scalper trading the order block strategy, and I honestly thought it was a great strategy and it just showed a lot more to the market. So I'm taking the initiative and I'm starting to learn the order block strategy so I can combine ICT and order block and be the most profitable that I can. But I just had this volume profile indicator up for the day just to see what it looks like. But I mean, I don't really know if that's what it's supposed to do and what you're supposed to do as an order block trader, or not order block, order flow, not order block. Scratch every order block I said, order flow. But I'll move that one out of the way for you guys. So coming into market open, there was red folder news at 10 o'clock. At 9 o'clock Central, but 10 o'clock Eastern, we had red folder news. So because of that, I waited till 10 o'clock to even get on the market and look at the charts. So with all that being said, I marked out 10 o'clock and then I went to the 15-minute time frame on NQ. So on the 15-minute time frame, we were in this big middle zone right here, but with this big wick at market open, because I got on later, I was able to see going on to the hour time frame because it's a little congested right here. We had a fair value gap, but the big thing is that we had a 1 hour inverse fair value gap, and then we could target these highs or we could target these lows. So I marked out all of that down there. Just be ready for everything, make a plan for the day. If this happens, then I'm going to switch my bias. But because of the inverse and at market open and it coming and tapping and then going higher, I was bullish on the day to target the all-time highs. So going back down to the 1 minute time frame, after this dotted line, I was looking for trades, looking for longs. So I'll move it out of the way so you can see it clearly. But I could have taken this trade here, but there was no true entry, right? So it didn't hit equilibrium. There was no fair value gap. There was no order block. There was no manipulation. So there was no true reason for this to displace higher. So I didn't take that and I just waited. But here is where I was very happy on the day. So as you can see here, we had a displacement higher and then a big move down. So at this point, at about 10:15 in the day, I go over to ES just to see what ES is doing. And if you go to ES, you will see this high right here that it did not necessarily take out right away. So after 10 o'clock, around 10:15 at this point, ES took out these highs and had a manipulation to the downside. Sorry, I'll turn off the magnet. It had a manipulation and we wanted to see a displacement to the downside, which we did. So that is perfect on ES. And with that being said, going over to NQ, we had a big SMT. NQ did not take out the highs while ES did. So we had a big SMT and then we still had a displacement through the downside through the series of up close candles because we're taking shorts. So at that point, I entered short right there. My entry was in this candle right about there with the stops at the wick high, the SMT high. And I was just targeting, I didn't want to target all the way down here because I felt it was more so riskier. Because I was overall bullish on the day, I was just looking for a quick drawback So I went for these wicks low down here for a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, and it hit full TP in 4 minutes. So that was honestly a great feeling, great sign for the day to come. So with all that being said, I didn't want to get off right after that. I thought there was a still bigger move higher that we could catch. So with all that being said, I thought we were going to respect this zone, and because of this big wick on the 10 o'clock open, that is a big rejection zone, and as you can see, we rejected that. But overall, on the higher time frame, I was still bullish. That was just a quick short that I wanted to take to see go a little bit lower, and I wasn't going to be mad if it went higher still and it hit stop loss because of the SMT and the liquidity zone on ES. I was okay with that if that was a loss. And that's just something that I accepted before even entering the trade. So with all that being said, I'm still bullish on the day, looking for longs. And as you can see at this point right here, we had a big move up and then a little consolidation. And with these wicks down here, this big red candle took out the wicks and had a manipulation lower. And then for my strategy, I wanted to see a displacement within 3 candles higher. It needed to close above the series of down close candles. So it needed to close above this candle close within 3 candles. And as you can see, it did. So at that point, I entered long. And I entered on the next candle because I was waiting for the candle close at about this range right here at that candle, and then the stop loss at manipulation low and take profit at all-time highs and the liquidity zone on the day. So that was a 1-to-1.6 risk reward ratio, and that was an awesome trade on the day. It was just it was a very slow move up, but it was very consistent. So I was very confident with that. So I was just waiting for it to hit full TP, and as you can see, it did finally at 11:56. So that was a great feeling, I'm not going to lie. At this point, when it had a lot of, here, I'll move this out of the way. When it had a lot of consolidation and it stopped here, I was like, oh no, this is going to go down and hit stop loss. And then the same thing here, I thought I was going to do that, but I just decided to wait it out, stay disciplined, and it hit full TP. But I will say the one thing that I did do wrong or right, considering how you look at it, but with the take profit trader funded being a trailing drawdown, I trailed my stops higher and I just put it at the low. So once it broke past these highs, I put it at this low. Once this was too low or too high of a low. So once it broke past here, I put my stops at the bottom of the fair value gap. Once it broke past here, then I moved it to these lows. Once it broke past here, then I moved it to these lows, and so on. You know how it goes from there. So I was just trailing my stop on that. I honestly kind of like that better because it is a trailing drawdown. So I'm just trailing my stops. But now we have made up the buffer. So we are at 100,000 and 103,000. I can't talk right now in profit, just above that. So we have made up the buffer. So once we get to 5,000 in profit, I'm going to switch my trade or my risk management to 1% of the account instead of 0.75 of it, so I can get back up to risking $1,000 per trade. But the one bad thing that I was saying about this trade is that I move my stop loss, because usually I just want to keep my stop loss at the low, keep my take profit at the high, and just let it hit whatever. It doesn't matter to me, and just trust my original analysis. But because of the intraday trailing drawdown on take profit trader funded accounts, I was trailing that instead of just letting it hit take profit or stop loss. But once I make up that full buffer that I want to, not the firm's buffer of 3,000, once I make up the $5,000 buffer, which I set for myself, then I will no longer have the trailing stop loss, and I will up my risk. So with all that being said, we were up $2,000 on the day. So that was amazing. You couldn't have asked for a better start to June. That was full TP taken on 2 trades, 2 for 2 on the day. I'll show you my just progress and me keeping track of it. So, yesterday you can see my 1 for 1 and June's 2 for 2. But I will say, on Friday last week, I was super busy. I was not able to make a YouTube video, but I did take a trade, and I did take a winning trade for $900 in profit. And with all of these black days, which signify a losing day, and big losing days, minus 2,000, minus 2,000, minus 1,000, minus 1,000, minus 1,000, all of that, I still ended the month plus $800. So that was a great feeling to have, especially with a buzzer beater finish on Friday. Let's go, finally. But hopefully we have a great June, and we're starting June off hot, and hopefully we can keep it going. So that's pretty much all I got for the trade recap for the day. So right now I'm going to go into the verse of the day, and today's verse of the day is Matthew 5:3. So Matthew 5:3 says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So what does this mean? The poor in the spirit are those who humble themselves to God and give themselves to God and know that they can't do it on their own, and they just give their lives to God fully. So those are the blessed, and then for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. They will be given eternal life and the gift of salvation. So, nothing crazy on the verse of the day. Just a nice little lesson. Nothing crazy there. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I will make another video for my next trade, and I'll keep you guys updated with that. But if you guys do like this type of content and form of videos, if you don't, let me know in the comments. Just give me your thoughts on that. So let me know on that, please. That would be much appreciated. I'm looking for any type of feedback that I can get. So with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next trade recap.